So I was like, all right, cool. So to get to the house, bring them in, introduce them to the family. So we go outside to my garage where I used to practice. And so we just started practicing. And so now I started to learn the technique of that style from LA. And I wanted to, bring that to Orange County. And so we became friends, started hanging out, going to parties and stuff. So meeting Charlie Beltran and Osprey Farm that weekend was probably the second most important turning point for me as a dancer. All right, here we are in Hollywood, California. We're on Hollywood Boulevard, and right behind me you see the Florentine Gardens. This is a historical landmark club in Hollywood. Back in the day, this was a place that every once in a while we come and check this place out. So I was just happened to be here one time, and I met this guy, a friend of mine named Marvin Columbus, and this is where I met him. And he was already working in the entertainment industry. He had done some videos for Midnight Star and Climax as a dancer. So he told me, hey, I'm doing this gig at the Palace in Hollywood, which is right down the street there on Hollywood and Vine. So he asked me to come down and check out the show. So I said, okay, off to Hollywood we go. All right, so we're down here at the, used to be called the Palace in Hollywood, now it's called Club Avalon. So this is a spot where Marvin and his friends were performing, so I came to check out the show, so let's go see if we can get in. Well, doesn't look like we can get in. I was here one night, sitting up on the theater seats, watching the show, and they had a pretty cool little showcase with some poppers, some lockers. They had female dancers as well. So after the show was over, went down to the dance floor, just kind of hanging out. So they came out, Marvin and dancers came out, and that's when he introduced me to Gerardo for the first time. So Gerardo and I became pretty good friends. So we kind of teamed up, myself, Marvin, Gerardo, and I had another buddy named Kevin. So we all kind of just started dancing together, doing contests around LA and actually Riverside. So it was around that time in the early to mid 80s is when I started to meet all the other, poppers out there like Hugo and Pete, Sugar Pop, Jazzy J, Mosquito Rabbit, may he rest in peace, and also Greg Campbell Jr. from the Lockers, may he rest in peace also. So this is around the time where I found myself now fully fledged in the dance community. And then in 1987, Gerardo was doing some acting at the time, and caught his first big break in the movie Colors, got a co-starring role. So he told me that there was an opportunity maybe to do some dancing in this film. So he said, just come down to the set. I said, okay. So I remember going down to the set, and we showed, I think it was Dennis Hopper, the routine that we had, and pretty much got hired on the spot. Scenes that you see in the movie that were dancing and stuff, dance related, really weren't part of the script. And that movie now is a classic movie here 20 years later. So that was pretty cool. In 1991, Gerardo was working on some music also at the time. So he went to Acapulco to work on this film. And so what he did was he hired the production staff over there to shoot some footage for this song that he had done out here. So he did that, came back to LA, and he asked me and Hugo to, to come do some stuff, finish it up, get some footage out here in LA. So we did that.
Rico, suave, rico.
And then before you know it, had his record deal. So first started with the promotional tour. It was just me, Gerardo, and Hugo. We went out on the promo tour, touring across the country, going to different radio stations all across the U.S. And then after that, the record started to hit, so we had to hire some more dancers. So we brought on some girl dancers. And then that's when we started doing all the TV shows like Oprah and Arsenio Hall, The Tonight Show, The Byron Allen Show, The Party Machine, all kinds of talk shows that we did back at that time. And then that summer of '91, Club MTV has a summer MTV Club Summer Tour. So they take some of the hot groups that are out at that time and put them together and send them out across the country. So we managed to get on that tour, and the headliners were Belle Biv DeVoe, BBD, which was a legendary R&B hip hop group. You had Tony, which is another legendary group. You had Color Me Bad with I Want to Sex You Up. They had a big hit song at that time, and of course Rico Suave. And then there was another artist, I think her name was Tara Kemp. And so there we go. We were off on the Club MTV tour of summer of 1991, traveling across the country, performing, in big arenas for thousands of people, and just living that crazy Hollywood life. And then right after that, going overseas to Japan, going over to Europe, South America, Central America.
In a hole, yo, what's the matter? God bless my yo. If that's the case, then no need to worry. Bust out the dictionary. You want some inside info? Want to know what you're in for? Look up on the info.
And then, after some time, Rico Suave started to wind down. Then it was time to do a second album. And when we did the second album, unfortunately, didn't quite have the same impact. So that's when things started to kind of slow down a little bit. Well, it's about 1995 at this point, and things have kind of slowed down a little bit. Rico Suave ran its course. We had a great time with that album, and did all the crazy partying and tours and concerts and all that kind of stuff. The shows were getting far few between, and I was just going through some tribulations myself, and just felt the change coming on. So around that time I became a Christian, and I just felt a different calling in my life at that time. So what I felt God was leading me to do was to just work with kids. So I devoted myself to teaching Sunday school. And I worked with kids from grade school all the way up through high school, college age, and taught an adult class for a while, and I did that for about 10 years. So from about 1995 to 2005, I was just taking care of spiritual matters. But in 2003, 2004, someone had mentioned to me about this B-Boy Summit, and there were some new dancers, new generation dancers. And I was so far removed from the scene, I just said to myself, hey, there are no new dancers out there. Boy, was I wrong.
Psychedelic on the dark box. What can make you feel where this funk came from? What can make you feel? What can make you feel where this funk came from? What can make you feel? Baby, 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 baby. Oh, let me take you back. Show you how they used to do it, And I rock with the best. So for me, there's nothing to it, Ah, much love to Seth Roger. Without them, I'd never do it. I just do it, and I don't stop. Psychedelic makes the beats hot. Ooh, I gotta make 'em hot. Goes to the pop like, ooh, pop it, baby.
As soon as I walked into this place, I see all these people, and I'm like, wow. I see poppers, I see b-boys, I see lockers, and I'm like, wow, it's back.